Hey, y'all. Welcome back to Mirror Expressions, where I take the time to share a little bit of myself with you all out there in YouTube land, and I invite y'all to do the same with me. All right. Y'all know how we do before we get into anything. Hit that like button, that one. Go ahead and go over to that subscribe button. Hit that one too if you haven't hit it before. And as always, drop me a mirror emoji in the chat. That just lets me know that, hey, you're doing good, because I want all my YouTube family to be doing well and accounted for. If not, do what you must to get back to a healthier you. And without further ado, let's go dive right on in. So, y'all know we've been into this series, A Friend of the Family. And it's telling the story of the little girl that got abducted 2 times by a friend of the family. If y'all have already seen the documentary on Netflix, it was Abducted in Plain Sight. So that's what it is. It's just the telling of that story, and it's more so from the little girl. She's actually, of course, a grown woman now, but it's from like her viewpoint of how things went down. And it's not a documentary style. It's just her telling the story, actors reenacting how she feels things happen. It's more of a dramatization or whatnot. So anyways, we have already reviewed and recap episodes 1 and 2. We're about to get into 3 and 4. Yeah, so all 1 through 4 episodes, they dropped this past Thursday. And so every Thursday from here on out till I think maybe the first or second week in November, we'll get a new episode. I think it's like a total of 9 or 10 or whatever. So we got the first 4 all at one time. So that's why we kind of just hitting them like y'all like this with these reviews and recaps. But I hope y'all are enjoying it. And I really want to hear from you all, your thoughts. What are y'all getting from it? Are y'all enjoying the series? Like, what stands out for you? What would you have done differently? Or would you have kind of reacted the same? Right? I just want to know. So anyways, episode 3 is called The Gift of Tongues, baby. And it's all because Brother B or B, they did call him Brother B because both families were heavily into the church. So they called them Brother B and Sister Gail. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, B has just finessed this whole entire family, the Brobergs. Like, he really has. He is a character. So episode 3, it opens up with, well, we don't see the FBI agent, but we hear him talking, because remember in the other last episode, he asked them when they finally had called the FBI, like, what is your relationship with this with Brother B, basically? What is your relationship with them? And you remember Mary Ann answered that, oh, he's just like one of the families. We love their kids like our own, and vice versa, right? So that's kind of the opening scene. And it's just taking us back to how Brother B done finessed this whole entire family. So it takes us back 2 years before the abduction ever happened. So it's like fall 1972, right? Because I think the abduction had happened in October of 1974, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, so it's back 2 years before the abduction had happened. And this is back when the Berchtoldts first kind of moved into the neighborhood, right? So we see them in church, and then the pastor asks, does anybody want to testify? Do they have a testimony? Y'all, and B gets up in front of the whole church. He calls himself, give his little testimony, but he ties in the Brobergs. He's just like, they've been so good to us. They're just the most awesome family. Their daughter even came and sung a song, so he just going on and on and on in front of the whole church family about how good the Brobergs out. So, of course, they're all just gleaming and taking it all in. And then they come home for church only to find out that B done left them a whole gift basket on the table. I'm just like, so he's just going up in these folks' houses and baby, I'm just like blown away. He is literally love bombing all the family members, from the mom, the dad, to Jan. I was just like, oh my goodness. So yeah. He tricks them into letting him start taking the children to school, talking about, well, Mary Ann, you have so much on your plate. You doing everything for everybody. Let me lighten that load. I start taking the kids to school. So he does that as his way to start getting closer to Jan. You know that, right? So we start seeing them on the car rides, and every car ride, he's asking them, who do you love most next to your mom and dad? And they always say, Brother B, Brother B. Like, why are you asking these kids that? You know what I'm saying? So, so he's Bob, he got his own floral shop. You know, he's a florist. And so one day, B comes in and he's looking all sad and down and out. So, hold on, y'all. So yeah, he looking all sad, down and out. And so Bobby's just like, what's wrong? And so B was like, how about you close up shop and let's go to lunch, right? So Bob, he seems like he had to think about it for a little bit. But anyway, he ended up going to lunch with B. And so they're just talking about it all. And he's just talking about, you know, how he and his wife are having problems. They don't have the best sex life. And he wants Bob to ask Mary Ann to talk to Gail about being more attractive. And so Bob is just like, what do you mean? He was like, you know, your Mary Ann has going on, basically. And then he even goes in, and them legs are sexy. Like, why are you talking about this man's wife to him about how good his woman looks? Like, this just blows my mind, right? It is just blowing my mind, right? So, so Bob comes home and he's telling Mary Ann, you know, I talked to B, him and Gail, they're not having the best time, and he wants you to talk to Gail about being more attractive, right? And so then Bob also goes on to tell her, then he told me about some things he's had to repent for. And so, of course, we didn't get to see this part of the conversation. So Mary Ann is just like, what type of things? Y'all, end up, it was the oral sex of it all. So, because Bob decided he was going to try on Mary Ann, baby, and that rocked Mary Ann's world. Mary Ann was just like, oh my gosh, like, this is the best thing going. So, y'all know, this kind of gets into Mary Ann's head. So now she thinking, well, this is the type of thing that B do? Like, B does these type of things? So, you know, she already, so first he already flirted with her one time. What did he say to her? Oh, shit, I don't remember. But anyway, so, you know, all this stuff is constantly adding up in her head, right? So then, she ends up, let me see. She ends up going to see Gail. I'm trying to think what happened next. I think actually, Brother B came over to see the two of them, Mary Ann and Bob. And he ends up asking him, well, it's something, no, first he says, if something ever happens to me or Gail, we've already talked about it, and we want y'all to get custody of the kids. And so, of course, they're just like, oh, this sweet, but this kind of strange. Like, where your family at? So he goes on to say, like, his brother is not in the church, and Gail's brother is a homosexual. So basically, neither one he felt was fit for the kids. Y'all know how small-minded people were back then. So anyway, So he was like, we would want y'all to take care of the kids. And so then he asked them, though, this again is just him trying to finesse these folks. Well, you know, we'll take care of your kids. Should anything ever happen to you? Like, I'm like, dang, is he trying to get custody of the kids so then he can off these people? Like, I was like, what the hell? So, of course, they was just like, nah, we already got that taken care of. So then he asked to see the paperwork, y'all. And so, Mary Ann takes him to go see the paperwork. And, of course, the paperwork is in the box in the top of the closet. You remember last episode when they went to go get her Jan's birth certificate, it was gone. I was just like, how the hell he even know where it's at? Well, this is how he finds out where the birth certificate is at, because he sees the birth certificate then while she's looking through the box for this letter that shows who's supposed to get custody or whatnot, right? So Mary Ann, she goes to see Gail to just kind of help her out. And so she's trying to get her together for this gold and green ball that they're going to. Now, this is the same dance from last episode when Brother B was all up on Mary Ann, whispering in her ear, talking about, you remember what I said to you at the dance. Well, this is the dance that he's talking about. Because remember, we done went back. So she's trying to get her together, be all cute and whatnot. And so she picked out this dress, and she's just like, oh, B is going to love this dress, blah, blah, blah. Well, B comes home, and he sees his wife all dressed up in his dress with them legs out, because remember he said he liked them legs. And he looked at her, and he basically insulted her, and was just like, no, you tried, but it ain't giving what it's supposed to be gave, basically. And so, of course, her feelings are hurt, and she runs out. So Mary Ann is just left standing there. And so she's trying to tell him, like, you know, you didn't handle that well. That wasn't, you know, right. And he basically tells her, well, it doesn't matter what she does. She'll never beat you. Oh, okay. Like, you just laying it on thick. You just putting it on out there. You know what I'm saying? He ain't even trying to be inconspicuous anymore, right? So anyway, he also, well, let's just go to the night of the ball, right? So at the ball, you know, again, all this stuff playing with her head. Like, now he doesn't let it be known that he really wants her, because he done said his wife would never be her. And then he got her husband doing some new things in the bedroom. So, of course, if he telling her husband to do that, then whatever he doing got to be even better. So all this stuff is roaming around in her head. And they're at this dance, right? And he's just very charismatic. So he out there, he just dancing with woman to woman. He going from one to the other. While his wife is just sitting off in the corner. Gail just sitting there like, she a little homely looking something too. But she just sitting there looking so nice and quiet and out to herself, whatever. And meanwhile, Mary Ann off in the corner too, just watching him. And she just got a disgusted look on her face like, oh, you know, how you gonna be dancing with everybody but me? So he does finally ask Mary Ann to dance. And so she tells him that. She was just like, you dancing with every girl up in here. And he was just like, was biding my time until I got a chance to dance with you or whatever. I said, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So then he also tells her, that's when he ends up telling her that he wishes he had met her earlier, like before he met Gil, because who knows what would have happened. So it's at this dance, because they danced like two dances. They did like a fast number and then a slow number. So when they was doing a fast number, Mary Ann's husband, Bob, he was just off to the side talking. He really wasn't studying them, you know, just thinking it was innocent. Everybody just out having fun. Like, everybody just danced with everybody, basically. But then when they started slow dancing, he noticed how close they were. And I mean, Mary Ann was just gazing up into their eyes. I was just like, dang, you know what I'm saying? I would have been feeling some type of way too at that point. So you could clearly tell that Bob was, you know, he didn't say anything, but you could tell he was. And so, anyway, the kids end up having a sleepover at the Birchtoes house, because their boys had just got a new trampoline. And so they were going to have like a camp out on top of the trampoline. Where at the camp out, we find out that, well, Brother B had already started giving Jan these allergy pills. Let me correct, the allergy pills, because all of a sudden she wakes up in the middle of the night and comes into the house, and she tells Gail that she just had a nightmare, and then when she woke up, her nightgown was all tangled up. I said, "Oh my goodness, he's out there messing with that baby." He was out there messing. And then this is when we find out that she's been taking the allergy pill, because all of a sudden, here come B coming in from outside. Like, dude, why you outside in the middle of the night anyway? Unless he was out there watching the kids, which I highly doubt, because back then, I think people just let their kids sleep in the backyard without any kind of supervision anyway. So anyway, he come in the house trying to act all surprised. And so Gail just like, well, she done had a nightmare. And here he go. Do you need to take another allergy pill? What the allergy pill gonna do for a nightmare? So yeah, so we learned he's been putting her to sleep all this time, right? So then they decide, the Burstows decide they're going up to Seattle to go see a real live play, right? And so they want to take Jan with them. And so Marianne had told them where Jan could go. Well, Bob, you know, at this point, this is after the dance and all this, so he's already kind of starting to feel a certain way. And so he tells Marianne that no, Jan cannot go. And this is why I'm tripping when I think back, because this is the same thing the night she got abducted when he had already told B no, she couldn't go horseback riding, and Marianne let him. So anyway, but I digress. Back to episode 3. So he told Marianne no, she can't go, and Marianne was just like, "But I already told them, and she's gonna be upset." And Bob was just like, "Well, she's just gonna have to be upset." But yeah. So Marianne, wait a minute. Marianne go ahead and call Gail and let her know that, hey, Jan can't go. But y'all, this is the crazy ass part. Gail shows up at their door at 9:30 at night. At night, y'all. Talking about, please let Jan go. Why the hell are you on my doorstep asking me, or telling me or begging me for my child to go somewhere? Like, no. Like, who are you? And I said, I think it was Bob asked her, B put you up to this? I said, he got these folks out here like they are his minions, baby. His little minions. And so she's pleading and begging. And then she says, well, B said that none of us can go if Jan doesn't go. What the hell? I still would have been like, oh, the hell, well, ain't got nothing to do with me, right? Y'all, oh my gosh. So by this time, Jan is looking out the window because she knows and she really want to go. And so but Bob's kind of feeling like he's being painted in a corner, because he was like, that's childish and that's not fair to your kids. And she's just like, but he's refused to go because he said if Jan can't go, then then nobody can go. So of course, Mary Ann is just looking all appalled, and she's just like, well, then let her go, you know. So they end up letting Jan go, baby. Jan couldn't wait. She was sitting on the curb the very next day waiting, because they're in Idaho, right? So they were going over to Seattle. So it was like an overnight trip. And y'all, while they was there, they had dinner. And then dinner, the baby was falling asleep. He done gave her one of them darn allergy pills, and then trying to fake like she had got sick or something was wrong with her. So he took her on back to the hotel room by himself while Gail and the boys stayed at dinner. Let that sink in. So when they got back, they pulled up in the driveway, and the Brobirds end up meeting them outside. And so Bob just put his foot down. He was just like, look, I'm the head of this household, not you. It's time for you to step back, and our families need to separate for a little bit. Like, we need our own space over here. And so they're looking all appalled. the burst holes. They're looking like, wow, like, what is all this about? And he was just like, you know, when I say something, I mean it. And I don't need you to undermine me, basically, is what he was telling them. And so, you know, B, he just, you know, charming. Oh, you know, I understand. And you're right. We should take some time apart. So they leave. But y'all, why B shows up in Bob's job again? He shows up again. So he's sitting up there. He's trying to be all apologetic and I'm sorry, you're right. I stepped on your toes. And so he asked him, can they just go to dinner and talk about things, right? So Bob obliges. And so they go to dinner. And yeah, B ends up telling him this story about how his home life wasn't the best. And the one thing he did was help take care of his little sister. And that's kind of how he gained favor in his father's eyesight. And so he's just kind of doing that with Jan because he looks so much up to Bob. And I was just like, oh my God. So then all of a sudden Bob's attitude changes. He softens and he begins to feel sympathetic towards B. And I was just like, oh goodness, this man is a mess. He's a mess. So then he ends up telling Bob, you know, that he just wants to kind of be like him. He's done a lot of things in his childhood that he's not proud of. So then Bob, trying to be relatable, you know, he said, well, I've done some things too. I'm not perfect. I've done things too as a boy that I'm not happy about. And so B kind of hears that, and you know he gonna try to figure out what it is so he can use it against him. And that's exactly what he does. So he keeps digging. He keeps pushing Bob to share what it was. And he shares that, you know, as a boy, when he got to like his teenage years or coming upon puberty, I'll say, you know, him and some of the other boys just were experimenting with their bodies and, you know, touched each other. They were looking like nudie magazines and touched one another, you know. So yeah, when I tell you B took that information and ran with it, Brother B did just that. So they leave the restaurant and B had driven, right? So they get in the car so they can leave, and B doesn't leave right away. He starts to lament about how he and Gail are not doing well in the bedroom sexually and that things have gotten even worse. And so, you know, he's just sexually frustrated, and that if Bob really cares about me, you'll help me out with this. And so Bob is just looking straight ahead like, what are you talking about? Because Bob in the passenger seat and homeboy B, he over there on the driver's side. So Bob keep divert his eyes. He won't even look at him. He's just like, what you mean? Like, I kind of get what you mean, but what you mean? And so he was just like, you can't send me home like this. And he was like, maybe I need to see a professional. He was like, but no, I need some help right now. You don't want me to be like this. If you could just help me out, you know, how you and those little boys used to do. Baby. And then next thing you know, he unzipped his pants. He pulled that thing out. And he grabbed Bob's hand and put it over there. And y'all, Bob gave him a whole hand job until he nutted. I was just like, ugh. And then he gonna hand him a handkerchief. And Bob, you see Bob just wipe out there, saving off his hands, baby. Oh my gosh. This is too much. And then it was like the next day, of course, so that same night when he made it home, here go Mary Ann. can we do that thing that we did the other day? I told y'all, baby, she got a taste of that oral sex and was just like, I've been heavy. I need some more of this in my life, right? So, of course, Bob did not oblige, and he didn't say why, but he feeling disgusted about what he just did with me. And then the next day, he come home from work. Why be all in their house building a dividing wall in the girls' bedroom so that Jane could have her own bedroom? I said, oh my goodness. Probably so he can climb through that one at night and do whatever he wants to that girl without nobody knowing it. Because, you know, the little girls, well, the two oldest girls shared a bedroom. And so he built a dividing wall so she could have her own room. Y'all, and that was the end of episode 3. Baby, this stuff is outrageous. When they named this one the gift of tongues, baby, it was not a lie because he ran there finessing every single body with that mouth of his. I said, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. He got people just, he using them like little minions. Like I said, just even something so small as dropping a bug in Bob's ear about what he does sexually. So then he go home and let Mary Ann know. And now Mary Ann thinking that Bob really gets down with the get down in the bedroom. So of course she around here fantasizing about what he does or how he even told Mary Ann to go talk to Gail. And that was just so he could find out about Mary Ann and Bob's sex life. Because then he even asked Gail, at one point they was all sitting down at the dinner table. He asked Gail, well, what did you and Mary Ann talk about? Did y'all talk about her sex life with Bob? And Gail's just like, yeah. She said he's kind of reserved and reticent. And so B was like, so he taking all that in because he's just like, okay, they having vanilla sex, so I know what she really want. I know how to go and spice that up. You know what I'm saying? Like he was something else, baby. He was something else. But anyway, y'all tell me what y'all think. I'll be back with episode 4. And until next time, I'm gonna continue to pray for y'all. Y'all please pray for me. And what? Hey, bye y'all.